Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I got some feedback from people and we are doing a nice full body flow. So I think today you'll just be using yourself, your mat, and a little bit of energy because we're going to work everything basically. So let's get started. We are going to start just in your 4-point kneel. So your hands under your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And we're just going to have a little bit of a rock back as we inhale. So breathing in through your nose, hips touch your heels. And we're going to breathe out to come back up. And we're just using this movement to kind of settle into the mat. So breathing in and breathing out. And settle into our movement. And I really want you to focus on syncing your breath with your movement. So we breathe in as we lower. And we breathe out as we come up. And you can make this a little bit more dramatic here if you want to take your hands out ahead of you so your hips will come forward, because we want our shoulders to finish stacked over our hands. So we'll inhale back, maybe ending up in a bit more of a child's pose. And we exhale, coming forward into more of a half plank. And remember that on your exhale breath, that's when we want to lift the belly button. Now we might go for 2 more like this, breathing in and out. Keeping your gaze just looking down beneath you here. So your gaze will travel with the movement, but the back of our neck stays long. Let's tuck the toes on this one, and you're going to come up into your plank. So pressing hands down into the floor, your fingers are widespread. Belly button is lifted, and you're thinking of your heels reaching behind you. So reaching down, keeping the back of the legs long. We breathe in, and we're going to breathe out to walk your hands towards your feet, keeping your legs long. So those heels stay reaching, they're heavy into the floor. Nice stretch here, forward fold. Our knees aren't locked, but the legs are long. As you next breathe out, we're going to come back down. Again, think of your heels here, so your heels stay reaching. We breathe in our plank, belly button is lifted. We breathe out as you walk your hands towards your feet, forward fold. Breathing in, breathing out as we walk. So when we're walking down into the plank, we want to keep your heels heavy for as long as you can. And that's just going to extend the stretch further. So my heels are only lifting when they really have to help me come back down into this plank. Make sure you're breathing here. So we move on the exhale, we inhale at each end. And your breath will help you as you go. There's no use holding it. Let's go for another 4. This will be getting your legs a little bit warm, getting your shoulders a little bit warm, and also giving us that nice little stretch. Each time you come into this forward fold, maybe you can feel that your legs are getting a little bit looser, so you can sit down a little bit lower into that stretch, and maybe you want to spend a little bit longer in this stretch, and that's okay. You're welcome to hang out there for a little bit longer if you do want. In fact, next time we come up, we might all do that. So we'll send your heels heavy to the floor and really let your head and your neck drop forward. Again, your knees, they're not locked here, but our legs are long. Our belly button is lifted and our arms are heavy. Big breath in. And as you breathe out, let's come forward into your plank. And just to match that hold of the stretch, let's hold our plank too. Press your hands into the floor, pressing down through each of your fingertips. Lift your belly button. And we'll hold here for 10, 9, 8. You can start a little bit of a rock forward and back. 7, 6, 5, you're projecting yourself with your feet. 3, 2, on 1, we're going to lift those hips, sending them nice and high, and start a little bit of a pedal through the knees. So your ears are between your arms here. We're thinking of tall sit bones, and we're just letting ourselves pedal. Now I want you to keep this down dog position. So press your fingertips into the floor. Feet are at hip distance apart, heels are lifted, and your heels are going to stay up nice and high. Now it's just a movement through the legs, so try to keep your upper body still here. Think of this movement starting at your knees, traveling up to your hips and down to your ankles, but no further. So as you inhale, we're going to bend those knees. And as we exhale, we're going to lengthen the legs. So it's an inhale to bend. And an exhale, lengthen. You can watch your legs here. See that both knees are traveling at the same speed. And that you're maintaining that space between your legs as you go. So you're just keeping that hip distance apart as we go. Good, and I want you to kind of squeeze your bum as you travel down. So as your knees bend, squeeze the bottom. Good, your weight is even between those hands. Let's go for another 6. Press your fingertips down. Exhale as you lengthen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's lengthen those legs. We're going to bring your shoulders forward over your hands. Can we hold our plank one more time? For 10, 9, 8. Your shoulders are away from your ears. Your belly button is drawn in. We're breathing here. For 4, press the fingers. 3, 2, on 1, little down dog, big inhale breath. And we'll exhale to come down into your child's pose. And when we are in these stretches, enjoy the stretch. Just breathe. Be heavy. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling here, a little stretch through the triceps. Big breath in. And as we breathe out, we'll turn those palms back down onto the floor. Bringing yourself up, shoulders are over your hands, knees are underneath your hips. We're going to tuck the toes. We press our fingers into the floor here as we breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to float your knees. And we inhale, really gently lowering those knees back down. So we don't want to clang them into the floor. We just exhale to lift, and we inhale as we lower. Now, this is a full body movement. And I really want you to think about what's happening through your belly button. So are you drawing the belly in? Are you thinking of not sticking your bum out? Are you letting both legs move at once? And are you exhaling on your way up? Keeping your gaze just above your fingers here. Let's go for another 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back into your child's pose. A little bit of a relax through the arms, big breath in. Exhale down into the floor. Let's come back up. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, tuck your toes. We're going to press up. This time I want you to turn the creases of your elbows in towards one another. So your elbow crease, this little part, is rotating in. It doesn't mean you need to move your hands. It's just a little bit of a rotation through the arms. That's going to set our shoulders. Press those fingertips in. So we inhale here, lift the belly button, float the knees. As you're breathing in, I want you to send your hips back towards your heels. As you're breathing out, we're going to press forward. Keep those elbow creases facing in. We inhale down and we exhale back. Squeeze through the thighs. You're going to feel your legs. Let's inhale back Good, our knees stay at hip distance apart the whole time here. We exhale forward. Let's go for another 5. 4. This is another one where everything is working. 3. 2, keep the back of your neck long here, so we're not tucking our chin and looking at our knees. Your gaze is just beneath you. Let's come up on this last one, and we're just going to hold here for 5. 4, creases in. 3, 2, and 1. We can rest those knees down, untuck your toes. Come back into your child's pose. Big breath in and out. Good. Keeping your elbows on the floor. We're going to bring our shoulders up so that they're stacked over those elbows. Your knees are underneath your hips and your feet are heavy into the floor. Palms pressing flat down into your mat. Let's take a big breath in, lifting the belly here. So I want you to think of your spine just maintaining its neutral, so we're not sticking our bums out here. We're keeping everything tucked in, maintaining the rib to the hip connection. As you inhale, you're going to bring yourself forward, drifting it down as if you're going to kiss the floor. And as you exhale, you'll press up and away. Now your elbows should be just at shoulder distance apart. And we want to have a nice straight line from our elbows down to our hands. So we don't have our hands angled in or angled out. Just try and keep them nice and long. We inhale forward. And we exhale back. We're working our postural muscles while we're here. We're working our core still. And we're working those arms as well. Let's go for another 5. Let's go for 4. 3, keep pulling the belly in. 2, and 1. All the way back. We'll lengthen those arms and just let ourselves sink back into a nice little child's pose here. Good. You can bring yourself up. Now we're going to come over onto your side. So you'll lay down on one side here. And I want you to position yourself so that when you're coming down on your side, your heels and your bum, your heels and your spine are lined up together. We can lay down onto our bicep on this underside, and you're going to take your top hand and reach it underneath the waist and pull your ribs up away from the floor here. So when you finish, you've got maybe a little bit of space underneath the underside of your ribs and your waist. If you can make space, we want to keep that space there. If you can't quite get space underneath your hips, that's okay. I do want you to just be thinking of lifting away from the floor though, so we keep that rib connection, keep working the waist. Now we're going to bring both of your feet up to hip height, and your heels will be stuck together here. We think about reaching your belly button in, maintaining the neutral spine. So if you take your hand just to your lower back, you don't want to feel like your bum is really sticking out here or like your bum is tucked underneath you. So it should just be your natural spine. Let's use our breath. So we're going to exhale as we move. We exhale to bring that top knee away from the bottom, squeezing this top side of your bum and keeping your hips pointing forwards here. So what we're not doing is opening our hips and dropping over behind us. We want to keep everything lined up nice and straight. We inhale down and we exhale to squeeze as you lift. If you've got a resistance band at home and you want to make this a little bit stronger, you can pop a band around your thighs for this next little set. But if not, go without, you'll still be working. Think about keeping your ribs low in your chest, so that rib to hip connection here is still apparent. We're not flaring our ribs as we go. Let's go for another 6. And just relax the face. Relax your shoulders, your collarbones. We've got 3 to go. While you're going, try to squeeze the bottom side as well. So both sides of your bottom equally. Let's hold up on this last one. And we're going to do some nice little pulses. Now our pulses don't have to be fast. We just drop down a quarter way and lift. Quarter and lift. And it's all about that squeeze. So find that connection. Really try to focus your attention to your bum. And in particular, this nice little side part of the glutes. Belly button draws in. Let's go for 6 more little pulses. Feet don't move. 5, 4, 3, 2, hitting that spot each time. 1. We're going to come all the way down, knees touch. We inhale. Exhale, we're going to lift, hit the spot, and extend. We inhale, bend so that your heels touch, and then so that your knees touch. So it's an exhale, up, and extend, and inhale, heels, and then knees. Let's go for another 10, just like that. And as I'm going here, I am squeezing my butt like crazy, and I want you to be as well. Keeping this top arm relaxed, your hands are soft here. Just breathing. Let's go for our final 5. 4. 3. Should be starting to feel a little bit warm. 2. On 1, we're going to hold it up. And let's do some little circles here with this top leg. If this feels too strong, drop your bottom leg down. But if you can, keep it floating. Let's go for 7, 6, point the toes, 5, 4, soften the face, 3, 2, and 1. Let's have just a mini rest. A little bit of a rub. And we're going to scoop your knees forward. So your knees are coming out now, straight from in line with your hips. And you can use your mat as your indicator. So from where your hips are, your knees should be hitting the end of your mat. And I want your feet to be lined up along that front edge of your mat. So you'll notice your feet are actually off of the mat here because your heels are what's touching the edge. So we don't want to be back like this. We want to be forward with those feet. And let's flex both feet here. So bring your toes towards you, stick your heels out. Belly button draws in. We've still got that little bit of space underneath the waist, so we're not going to forget. Let's bring your top leg up to hip height and we hold. And nothing needs to move. We just breathe. Think about our core. Think about that beautiful bum of yours. Let's hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, we're going to lift up and come down to that hip height. We lift up and we come down to hip height. Let's go for 7. Exhale up. 6, 5. You'll have to let me know in the comments if this is hurting. It's hurting me. Let's go for 4. For 3, 2, 1. Hold it up. We're going to do a little pulse, so just up at the top. Remember our pulses? They don't have to be fast. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep flexing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1. Just hold. Extend that leg out. Whew. and bend that knee in. Let's go for 4 more like that. We extend and we bend. 4, 3, keep flexing the foot. 4, 2, you can imagine you're kicking me. 4, 1, we bend and we relax. Have a nice little rub. Beautiful. Now before we go on to the other side, we're going to roll onto your back. So you want to have a nice long flat spine here. And we'll bring our hands down by your sides, but your palms are going to face up towards the ceiling here. So we just have relaxed arms. Gaze is above you on the ceiling. Taking one leg up into your tabletop. And then the second, we're pointing those toes. Think about your lowest part of your belly being nice and long, flat, wide. We're going to inhale here. On your exhale breath, let's drop down with one foot, tapping your toes to the floor. We inhale to lift. We exhale down other side. Inhale as you lift. Now I have a phone underneath my back. So I'm pressing down into that phone, but I want you to be pressing down into the floor with the lowest part of your rib cage and with the spine underneath your back. Let's go here for 6. 4, 3, keeping your shoulders nice and soft and your face relaxed. 1, we're going to come up and we'll press the knees and the feet together. Now we keep those arms relaxed. We're going to drop both knees over to one side, but you keep your shoulders heavy into the mat. As you exhale, belly button reaches in, we roll back into center and your spine is nice and flat. We inhale down, other side again, shoulders stay heavy. Exhale as you draw back up into center. So you're only dropping down from side to side as much as you can without those shoulders lifting. And as you draw up into center, I want you to think about reaching your belly button in. That's when we're using the core. Keep your feet in their tabletop position so we don't have our feet down by our bottom or relaxed. They're lifted here. They're in their right angle. Let's go for 6 more. Try to resist the urge to press your hands into the floor. I know it's hard. We've got 3. Exhale into center. 2, keep squeezing knees and toes. 1. You're going to come up into the center and we'll take our knees apart. We're going to cross the ankles one on top of the other. And I want you to think of your knees here. They're drawing a tiny little circle, so they go over to the right, in towards your chest, to the left, and then down. So it's your knees that are drawing this circle, and the rest of our legs are just staying still. Let's keep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We've got 2 more. Keep those shoulders heavy. Last one. We're trying to maintain that flat spine here. And we'll take your hands underneath your knees and just hug those knees in. Good. And have a little bit of a rock from side to side. And we're going to plant your feet on the floor. Now taking your hands behind your head, fingers are interlocked, thumbs reach down the length of your neck. And we'll lift those elbows so that you can see them in the corners of your eyes. Our belly button reaches in. You're in your just natural spine here, so you might have some space underneath your back. Our ribs are low in our chest and your belly button is drawn in. We breathe in. And on your exhale breath, I want you to think of your chest lifting up to the ceiling until just the tips of your shoulders are off the floor. The back of our neck is long, our head is relaxed. We inhale down until just before your hands hit the floor. And we exhale to lift. So it's the ribs that are moving towards our hips here. And we're feeling them drift across the waist. And our head, therefore, can stay heavy in the hands. And you'll notice such a difference when you really focus in on your belly and think about scooping down towards the floor, just with that belly button as you lift. Our legs are relaxed. But in staying relaxed, I don't want your knees to be rocking in and out here. Now, if you're going and you begin to feel your lower back rather than your core, grab a towel or a pillow and just pop it between your upper inner thighs. And it's just going to give you something to feed back on, which will help us work a little bit more into the lowest part of your core instead. Let's go here for another 8. 7. My head is lovely and heavy in the hands, so my arms, because we warmed them up before, are going to start to feel that weight of the head that they're carrying. When we inhale back, we look at the ceiling. For 4. 3. 2. We are going to hold up on this last one. 1. So my spine is still in its neutral. It's still got that little bit of space underneath it. But my belly button is drawing in. I've got my tightest, flattest core on at the moment. And we're just holding. We're going to lift the right heel, press it down, lift the left heel, press it down. Nothing else moves. Keep really thinking about your core. Tips of shoulders off the floor. And our head stays heavy in the hands as we lift and lower these heels. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw the belly in, don't forget. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go for 10 more, but I want you to lift your chest a little bit higher as we lift that heel. 3, 4, 5. Draw the belly in. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring both heels up, and we're going to go for 10 up in the top of this movement. We've got 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We roll that head and neck back. We let the heels drop. Take your hands up overhead, big stretch. And we can bring ourselves up and over to the other side. So we're doing our glutes on the other side. We're going to have your heels in line with your bottom. You're resting your head down onto your bicep. And we're taking our top arm, we're taking our top arm underneath the waist here and lifting the waist away from the floor. Now we're going to bring both of your feet up so that they're at hip height. And we keep that space underneath the waist. And we send our ribs low into our chest. Feel along the lower back here. Make sure you're not sticking your bum out and your ribs forward. We're tucking everything in just to our neutral. So we also don't want to feel like your bum is tucked underneath you here. You've just got that nice relaxed spine. Soften the face. Let's inhale. On your exhale breath, we're going to squeeze through the bottom and lift until you hit that tallest point where you get that nice squeeze into the side glute. We inhale down. Now if you've got your hand on your hip here, that's fine, but I want you to keep your elbow pointing up towards the ceiling so we're not dropping the elbow back and letting our shoulders come out of alignment here. So often it can be easier just to have your hand in front of the belly here, which is going to keep your shoulders stacked and therefore help you keep your hips stacked. The hip points forward as we lift that knee. We squeeze the bottom. Good. Bringing all of your focus to that glute. And remember, we're squeezing the bottom side as well. Let's go here for another 7. 6. 5. 4. We exhale up. 3. 2. On 1, we're going to hold at the top, do our little pulse. And it's just that slow pulse where we squeeze each time. 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to bring that knee down. We'll exhale to lift it up. Extend. We inhale heels, then knees. So exhale up. Extend. Heels and knees. Now as you're extending that leg, we want to keep our knee facing the same way. So we keep that slight external rotation there. We don't extend and kick out in front of us or kick up to the ceiling. We want to keep that same long line from your hip and your thigh. We just hinge the knee out. We bend and we release. Let's go for 7 more. Keep squeezing the bottom. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. We're going to hold up on 1. Good, and we'll do those little circles forward just like before. So remember, bottom leg can drop down and you want to stick even with what you did on the other side. So if you kept it up, keep it up here again. Let's go for 7. 6, use your core, nothing else moves. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We drop down and we have a little bit of a rest as we bring those knees in and forward. So your knees come straight out to the edge of your mat. Your feet are flexed. We've got one foot stacked on top of the other and we're sticking our heels out. Yeah, a little bit of a rub if you need one like me. We want to keep that space underneath your waist. Keep your belly drawn in. Again, have a check of that spine. Your bum shouldn't be tucked under here. It's nice and long. If anything, in this one you want to feel almost like you're sticking your bum just long behind you. So not out, but just lengthening that lower back. Let's bring your leg up to hip height and we hold to start with. And as we hold, we breathe. Find energy somewhere. Somewhere in this bum there's energy. And I think you can find it. Let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, we're going to lift up. Whew. And we lower down. Just to that hip height. We keep both feet flexed. Hips facing forward. So you're really working into this glute. Now this is number 4. We're making our way up to 10. 5. Exhale up. 6. 7. 8, 9. Let's hold it up on 1, and we're going to do our little pulses here nice and slow. 4, 8, 7. Work into that top position, keeping your hip facing forward. I know it hurts. 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's hold it on 1. We're going to extend. Oof. And we bend. Let's go for 4 more. Exhale out. 3. Keep that space under your waist. 2, 1. Good. And we rest. Beautiful. And have that nice little bit of a rub. Hopefully you could feel that. Beautiful. Let's come up and over to finish. Now we're going to just let your hips go from side to side, and that's going to be a nice little stretch of those glutes that we just worked. Beautiful. And then you're going to come down so your elbows are on the floor. Fingers are interlocked. And we're pressing one foot back into plank and then the second. And we're going to just drop your knee down and lift, down and lift. Let's go for 1, 2, keep your belly button lifted. 3, 4, press your elbows into the floor. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lift those hips up nice and high. Little bit of a stretch. Can we have a big inhale breath and do it again? I think so. Let's come down. We're going to go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Eye line on your hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We send everything up. Once more, have a little bit of a stretch. And we'll rest those knees down, sending your chest down into the floor. Flatten your hands. And back into your child's pose. Beautiful. And coming up, and that's going to be the end of our flow for now. Let me know if you liked this style where we did a little bit more than just a 15-minute target, or if you prefer the other style. Just let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.